Now, in terms of personal holiness, there is no prophet comparable to Daniel. I mean, in terms of major prophets, the prophets that were in the Bible, recorded in the Bible, Daniel was famous for his personal holiness. So look at this, okay? Children in whom was no blemish, but well-favored, and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. Yeah, and the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat, and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Okay. Now among these were of the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names for... Okay, so in other words, right? In other words, I'm saying in other words, the king wanted his wise men to have no blemish and understand science. However, people take this out of context and say, hey, look, science is a good thing. Yes, science is the future because the Bible says understand science. But remember this though, they were in a pagan court, and their science is literally the kind of sciences and disciplines that people deride and call pseudosciences. These were the sciences of Daniel's days in the king's court. The art of the Chaldeans. Nowadays, people call this pseudoscience. You know, astrology is unscientific according to modern sources. You know, astrology, herbalism, you know, these things. Yeah, divinations, different kinds of divinations. They are called pseudosciences. But the wise men of old, these were the sciences. Yeah, and no blemish. Now I'm not saying, hey, if your face or if your body has any kind of blemish, you can't be a prophet. That's not true. Having a blemish is not a disability. So if you have a blemish and it's not a disability according to the Bible, you know, then it means that you're fit to minister as a pastor, as a priest, or as, you know, as a prophet. If you were called to be one. Of course, if you were called to be a prophet, you would be a prophet, with or without blemishes. But it only affects people who are gonna serve the king's court. Yeah, if you know you know what, prophets do not have to be in the king's court. Just like Saint John the Baptist, he was in the wilderness. He went to the king's court, and the king disliked him, and the king murdered him. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if like not every prophet is supposed to serve the court. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, some prophets are just out there, just like how Amaziah just drove out Amos. You know, Amaziah drove out Amos. Did you not know that? Yeah, Amaziah drove out Amos. Amos the prophet was not allowed in the king's court, and he was not allowed to prophesy in the king's court, and that's it. I think expelling the prophets is the way to go. It is. Because Satan would want to control the prophets by caging them and forcing them to change their courses. This ought not so to be. So if you look at this, okay, now God had brought Daniel unto favor and rendered and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. Okay. Now, of course, Daniel said, you know what he said? He said, I do not want to defile myself with a portion of a king's meat. Yeah? And I do not want to drink the wine which he drank. Therefore, he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. That's what he said. So the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink. For why should he see your faces worse liking than the children which are of your sort? Then shall you make me endanger my head to the king. So he was like saying, well, I'm just following orders, you know. I fear for my life as well, you know. And then Daniel said to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, set over these people, right? These four holy children, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. Then let our countenances be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat, and as thou seest, deal with thy servants. Okay, so in other words, they were put to the test, right? They were put to the test. But you look at Daniel. Daniel did not force the other people. Daniel literally did not force the other people, all the people outside of his Jewish culture. He did not force them to do what he did. He did not force them to believe him. Yeah, they let the pagans be pagans, and they served in a pagan court. Yeah. Okay, for this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Okay, and then look, he was gonna kill all the wise men. Yeah, he was gonna kill all the wise men. Okay, therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, Destroy not the wise men of Babylon. Bring me in before the king, and I will shew unto the king the interpretation. In other words, he was protecting the wise men, whom the modern people call witches and wizards. These are the modern people. The modern people despise them and call them pseudoscientists, witches and wizards. But in the past, Daniel protected these people, the wise men. Listen to the Bible. The Bible said so. He protected these people. In fact, he became the chief of the magicians. He did. If you read the rest of Daniel, you can see that, can you not? Yeah.